You're listening to RcFlightCast podcast with Frank Betts. Alrighty, here we go. This time around, it's RC Flying on a Budget. How to get in the air without breaking the bank. Hey, welcome back to RC Flightcast, where we keep your passion for radio-controlled flight alive without draining your wallet. Today, we're tackling a hot topic, RC flying on a budget. And whether you're new to the hobby or a seasoned pilot tightening the belt, this episode is full of practical tips, gear suggestions, and clever ways to enjoy RC flight without maxing out your credit card. So let's dive in. All right, the real cost of RC flying. Let's be real. RC flying can be expensive, but it doesn't have to be. And here's where the money typically goes. We're looking at the airframes, i.e., the plane itself, whether it's foam, balsa, or 3D printed. You got the transmitter and receiver. That's your radio gear. You got the motor, ESC, and battery, the power system. Charger and tools, those are often overlooked. And crash repairs, we all have them, so don't forget those oops moments. That's for sure. Excuse me. A beginner could easily burn through $500 just getting airborne, but with smart planning, you can cut that by half or more. I just got back into it here about, 2 years ago, I guess. And, well, I tell you what, Amazon is your friend. I bought more cheap crap off of Amazon. When you can do it, don't skimp on the stuff that, where you want to be safe, or, something that you plan on reusing quite a bit, or also something that can handle a crash at least once or twice. Because there's nothing worse than putting a plane together with all your stuff, and about 5 minutes later, you nose dive into the ground, and you ripped wires out of the motor or the lipo or anywhere down the line. Then you got to start over again. I mean, that's why I buy cheap servos. I always have. Back in the middle 2000s, when I was really hot and heavy in the RC stuff, I'd make profile planes. I had a cheap CNC machine, and I've talked about this on previous podcasts. It was called a flat printer. And I just take, quarter-inch foam board, fan fold foam board, that stuff you use to wrap your house with, and cut out airplanes with that. Grab my little $5 glue gun, hot glue gun, and, you can buy glue sticks for like 100 of them for like $8, $10. Again, Amazon is your friend. You just take these little cheapy $3 servos. I mean, for instance, once again, Amazon, you can get like 10 of them for like $18. And they're the standard size servos, not the minis. Well, I guess it would be minis because you have the micro minis, the minis, standards, and then the ones for the big stuff. But these are just standards, and they're for what I do, they're plenty fine. And so, it's just an ideas that coming off the top of my head as far as getting stuff. But here's how to start flying for less. Buy used. That's a good idea. Check Facebook Marketplace. Be careful there because you could get pretty burned there if you're not careful. There's a lot of creeps out there that will get you for your money, and who knows what you'd wind up with through the mail. But then again, there's always people out there who all had to try to get in and fly RC stuff, then they find out they're crash prone. So this stuff winds up sitting in the closet, or, they just tripping over it and it just wastes space. So they put it up on Marketplace. And I've put stuff up on there before, and you get a bunch of goofy messages or whatever, but Anyway, Marketplace, that's not a bad one. Or you just check out RC Forums. They have sections in there where you can buy used stuff from people. Somebody might be stepping up or they're outgrowing what they got. Even your local clubs. For $75 a year, just go to your local club. And who knows, maybe somebody will feel sorry for you and give you some stuff. I mean, it's out there. Just got to ask, be the right place, the right time, I guess. But, many pilots, they sell solid gear for pennies on the dollar just because they want to get out from under it. I mean, you like I said, you get hot to trot there and have these wild ideas, and all of a sudden you got all this stuff, and you either don't use half of it or, you go into another hobby, and there it sits. You just never know. Another thing you can do is choose RTF, which is ready to fly. Kits like the Volantex Sport Club 500 or even the E-Flight UMX Timber. They come with everything you need. You just charge the batteries and go. And, you're going to get a little cheap transmitter or what have you. But, for $60 though, I mean, $60, you can get a really decent Fly Sky transmitter 6-channel with the transmitter or with the receiver. And then if you need more receivers, you can get those for about $18 right on Amazon. So yeah, you just got to look around. And you just got to skip the big brand transmitters at first. And like I said, the Fly Sky i6 or the Radio Master Boxer can save you hundreds of bucks compared to Futaba or Spectrum. And the Futaba radio I got back in the mid-2000s, that was pushing $400 when I bought it. And you can buy that used all day long for, I don't know, $200, depending on what kind of shape it's in. Thing is, though, the receivers on those, the ones I like are, back in the day, those were $100 a piece. And now you still have to pay that much for them if you get decent ones. But they last a long time. And once you get something like that, you can hang on to it. And if you're happy with 6-channel radios or whatever, you're good to go. And, they still offer computer programming and model memory and open transmit or Edge TX support. So, yeah, you get for cheap transmitters, you can get an awful lot better than what you used to be able to get. And another good idea is stick with 2S and 3S planes. What that means is lower battery costs, less stress on the ESCs, cheaper charging equipment. So if you stay small, you spin small on something like that. And foam is your friend. EPP or Dollar Tree foam board planes are crash friendly and dirt cheap to repair. I mean, you can get online, some of these RC groups, and get free plans. They're called tile plans. You print them out and you tape them all together and put them on a board. I use a ceiling tile, about 2 by 4 foot ceiling tile. It's about 1/2 inch thick or so, 3/4 inch thick. And you can get on there with your knife and cut out the foam board and not worry about tearing anything up. And so that's one way. I just build your own. Let's see here. And then you print your way to flight. If you got a 3D printer like the Bamboo Lab A1, that's what I got. I spent $400 on it. But again, you can get on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. There's, again, just like what I was talking about earlier on the transmitters and all that stuff, people jump into that head first and then they realize they don't like it, or they just get bored with it, or they don't know how to handle it, and there it sits. And they just want to get out from under it. So you could get lucky and somebody's hot to try to sell their 3D printer and you'll make out all right. You can buy spools of filament for anywhere from $11 on up to, say, $25. And they're always on sale. I mean, there's enough companies out there where they can, there's a little competition going on. So Once you absorb the cost of that printer, I mean, then you can get the printable RC kits, from designers like PTI Kyle or 3D Lab Print or Eclipson. They get, you can grab files for around $10-20 and full control of materials and parts, the ability to reprint broken pieces, no full rebuild needed. Just be sure you've got the LW PLA filament. That's lightweight PLA filament. But I'm actually printing a plane right now as we speak. I'm looking at it on my little monitor here as it prints, and I'm just printing with PLA. And so far, I'm staying underweight, keeping it light. So fingers crossed, we're going to see how this works out. So, you just need a well-tuned printer and a patience for post-processing, and it's a huge budget saver once you're set up. I mean, you crash, and, the files are good forever. You just, send them through the printer, wait a couple hours there, and let it print out. Like this group of parts I'm printing right now, it's going to take 13 hours to print that. And right now, it's doing a very good job of printing. I'm printing in yellow. It's a Piper Cub, J3 Cub. It's a 31-inch wingspan. And yeah, once I print this, toss some gear I've already got laying around, and I'm good to go. So then you got your battery and charger hacks. So don't overspend on batteries or chargers. Here's how to be smart. Buy 3S 2200 packs and multi-packs. You can find deals for as low as $15 to $20 per pack. Excuse me. Dry in here tonight, about 80 degrees right now. Super humid here in Hickory Corners, Michigan. Holy cow. Weather is just crap. Too hot to do anything, or it's raining, or the wind is blowing, and you got storms out there right now. Welcome to Michigan. Erg. So, use a dual or 4-port smart charger. Brands like HTRC and SkyRC offer reliable units under $60. Like I said, you get small batteries. You just need a small charger, and keeps the prices down. And stick with the XT60 connectors. They're cheap, common, and reliable. I never cared too much for the XT60 connectors. I was always for the Dean's connectors. But you can buy adapters now, and you can switch back and forth, so you can get either type of battery you want with the XT60 connector or the Dean's connector. So both are good. Protect your batteries. Use storage mode and avoid over discharging. They'll last much longer. Keep an eye on them, that's for sure. But they're out there. You can get some cheap ones. I'll leave some links in the description page down below. So keep an eye out for that. These are places that I use all the time, and I have the best prices and the best luck with these particular batteries. So, all right. So do it yourself. Your way to savings, and build it yourself and save big. Foam board scratch builds, using flight tests or RC foam fighters plans can cost less than $30. Like I said, you can go on RC forums, and you got these guys that design these little profile planes that take, small brushless motors, 2S batteries, 1S battery, small stuff. And you can sit there and cut them out yourself, like I said, with a hot glue gun. And you're good to go. Use cable ties, popsicle sticks, and hot glue gun for clever fixes and gear mounts. I've done that. I've glued motors right onto the fuselage and let her go from there. Salvage your motors, servos, and ESCs from crashed planes or online parts outs. You get these guys that sell these planes that they've been beaten up pretty bad, and they're wanting to get something else, and they don't think about you could part them out. So you could get online, or like I said, go to your favorite or your club and ask around. Maybe somebody will hand you something. You just never know. And if you need tools, start with a soldering iron. Again, Amazon has that kind of stuff. You can get away with cheap soldering irons because you're working with some pretty lightweight wire. So you don't need anything super powerful there. And hobby knife, that's always a handy item. I always use those box cutter knives. You can buy those blades for I think they're 50 of them for $10 or something like that. And you dull one up and pop another one out and start cutting. So, again, like I mentioned before, a hot glue gun, $3, you can go down to your, Dollar Tree store and get a cheap one. They all do the same thing. Some of them are just more easier to deal with than others. But, I find a little $5 hot glue gun, just plug it in, let it heat up, and do my thing, and I'm good to go. And small Phillips screwdrivers, and I'm talking the small ones, people that tighten up glasses rims, and stuff like that. Really fine Phillips screwdrivers. You can get a set of those on Amazon for $6, $8. And it's not something you're going to be using every day. It's like being a mechanic, so I wouldn't worry about wearing them out. I mean, I got a lot of cheap stuff that I bought, and it's still going strong. And if you find you're tearing that kind of stuff up, then spend a few extra bucks, and then you're good to go. And another handy little item that I thought I'd never get is a servo tester. And for about $10, it's worth every penny. And the idea behind that is you can plug that in, your servo into that, and it zeroes the servo out. So that servo is in the neutral position. So when you put your plane together, you're not going to be surprised, when you turn on the transmitter and the receiver and all of a sudden the servos are, go one direction or the other. They'll be centered. So, yeah, $10. Definitely worth it. And also, they have a setting on there where you can run them back and forth, listen for any noises or problems or anything. So it's a handy little item. And like I said earlier, joining a local club may sound like a cost. Like I said, it's $75 for me for a year, but it's a money-saving move. So you can go to the club swap meets. That equals cheap parts and advice even. Access to instructors and buddy box systems. You'll crash less and learn faster, hopefully. And bonus, many clubs offer shared tools, battery chargers, and field benches that cut your gear needs in half. So, they're there to help out. They really are. I've been in quite a few clubs over the years. And, yep, everybody's super friendly and always ready to help out. Let's see. RC flying doesn't have to cost a fortune. If you're creative, resourceful, and willing to build, or at least tinker, you can fly for under $200 and still have a blast. Okay. I got a little bonus tips roundup here for you. This is something a little extra here. I got my little cheat sheet going right here. Use Velcro and rubber bands over fancy mounting gear. And that is so true. You can buy Velcro strips for next to nothing at the dollar store. Rubber bands, I just bought a bunch of rubber bands to hold a wing on. I think I got 50 rubber bands for $8. And those will last forever. Reuse packaging foam for wing spars or repairs. I mean, boy, the way they package stuff now there, I hate throwing that kind of stuff away, but it just builds up and I still wind up throwing it away. But yeah, you can carve up the packaging foam and save yourself some money there. And, just check out YouTube. The best budget flight schools you'll find. Just pick a subject, do a search on YouTube, and you'll find quite a few people there that are willing to help and give good advice. That's just some ideas. But, well, that's about it for this episode of RcFlightCast. If this helped, you think differently about your wallet and wingspan, let me know at frontcentermusician@gmail.com. I do appreciate the messages I get and some emails I get. That some encouragement there. I do appreciate that. And I don't have that many subscribers yet, but I'm getting there. It's going to take time like anything else. So, all right, I'll catch you next time. And until then, keep your wings level and your spending low. And we'll see you.